Hello, 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 and welcome to season 2 of Career Conversations with Felecia. You all are not ready. They're not ready. But they are not ready for what's about to happen. Like, you're probably saying, Felecia, you say that about every episode. No, this episode is about to be on fire. I've already called the fire department. They are standing by. They are standing by because it's about to be lit up in here. So, my name is Felecia Higgs Walker, and I am the founder and CEO of Girl.
Yay!
And this is my podcast. And on this podcast, I aim to interview amazing women, and I allow them to tell their stories of success, their stories of failure, but also their stories of how they overcame. So the young lady that you're looking at right now is my everything. Like, you have heard me talk about her so much, but she is my everything. She is my friend first. She is my sister. She is my line sister, Musada, Spring 94, 28 Sisters of the Sun. Ooh, don't play with it. Don't play. Dr. Kia Tate. Welcome.
Thank you. This is amazing, Felecia. Thank you so much. Glad to be here this morning.
I have wanted you on this podcast for a long time. But listen, so she's been fussing at me about should have been on the first season. She was coaching me during the first season. She was coaching me. So I had to figure it out and I had to get it right before I had you on this podcast because I don't want to mess it up with you. Right? So let me tell you all a story. So Kia and I attended college together. We pledged Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated together. And I always thought she was the absolute coolest. Like, I tell this story all the time. Like, didn't I want to be her friend? So smart, so outgoing, so talented. And I was like, I want to be her friend. And then we became sisters. So I was a little bit closer, but I wasn't close enough. And in 2001, I think, she sent me a text and said, hey, sis, I'm kind of starting my own financial business. And when you're ready, just let me know. Okay, great. And so then I got a new job. And this job was a 6-figure job. I'd gone from a 5-figure job and I had taken it to 6 figures. I didn't want to mess up that money and I knew just the person to call. So I reached back out to Kia. Doctor, what am I calling you here? Like, I call her K Money. What do you want? Okay, I want to give you all your props now. That's all your props you will be given. But I reached out to her and I was like, listen, I need your help. I just started this new job. I'm back in this industry and I do not want to fumble the bag. I do not want to mishandle my money. Can you help me? Of course. So she started coaching me and we started talking about money and my relationship with money and like, how did I think about money, my mindset around money. And once I kind of got a grasp on it, her next question was, so what other stream of income do you have? I was like, what? Job here. But she soon made me realize that's not enough. That's not enough. And so she started this whole mindset shift, this paradigm shift, if you will, about just how you thinking about money is not enough. You have to go further than that, right? So, gosh, I've talked so much about you. I know I love you so much. Yeah. This is iconic. I don't, anyway. So, Dr. Kia, tell my friends who you are.
Wow. First and foremost, let me just start by saying, oh, wow. Thank you for even sharing that story. I remember every piece of that. And I think the same thing about you, Felecia. I think you're absolutely amazing. It has been a joy to work with you and to watch you soar. For those who know you, they know you don't do anything half-stepping. And so it's been an amazing experience for me as well. As Felicia said, I'm Kia Tate. She and I met many, many years ago. We look like we're 21, but we're close. We're both a little bit more than that. But just as she said, my passion work has been about helping people in so many different areas and so many different realms. And the work that we've done together is very much connected to understanding your purpose, understanding your calling, and then thinking about what does that mean for your wealth vision. Not just making money, but it's about how you're multiplying money and how you're making sure that you're managing money and making really good decisions to build wealth. And so I think that was your question. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I absolutely love the work that I do. As Felicia's already stated, I believe in having various streams of income, and I believe they should be connected to what you absolutely love to do. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Oh gosh, here we go. So my first question, and listen, I have 7 questions. My podcast is built around 7 questions that I ask every guest. But the cool thing about it is with every guest, there's a different story, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same question. So my little cards here are like tattered and
I love it.
But my first question, before we get into those questions, how many streams of income do you have right now?
That's a huge question. I actively have, Felecia, I'll just say for me, of course, my husband and I work together on many of these, but I'll just say collectively, we have 7 streams of income. I'm a strong believer that you should have firm streams of income, and he and I have 7 streams of income.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not living my best life. Throw the cards away. I'm not living my best life.
The thing I'll say about that, though, is I believe it keeps you from being a slave to one. Ooh. And so if something happens, and we see this all the time, if something happens with one industry, you're not tied to saying, hey, what am I going to do? My one stream of income is gone. Or if you decide you don't even want to do that thing again, you have the option of other streams of income. And the other thing I'll say about this, with the 7 streams of income, we also are very consistent and very dedicated to those things that we love and believe. So those 7 streams of income don't keep us from missing any of our kids' soccer games or basketball games or sports events or choir concerts. With the 7 streams of income, it fits within our existing schedule. So that's the other piece of it that's extremely important, because I know people who have various streams of income, but they're running after the money. Yeah. And what we're doing is running after the passion. If you run after passion, money will run after you.
Hello, 911. Go ahead and send the fire department. Oh my God, that's so good.
Oh my goodness.
So good. And so when you started coaching me and you asked the question, what is your other stream of income? I didn't know. And so we started exploring what are those, and I've used this several times now. What are those 5 things you're good at? Now, that's good, Felecia. But now let's drill that down. What are the 3 things like you're better at?
Yeah.
And you didn't even accept that. What is that one thing that you are passionate about? What is that one thing that you do so naturally that people will pay you for?
Yep.
I tripled my income within 3 years because I learned how to interview, and I've taught a few other people how to do it. And your question was, can you teach more people how to do it? Absolutely. Well, let's build a course. I don't know how to build a course. Well, check out this chick. She'll teach you. Okay, great.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Right. I built the course. People started taking the course. People started getting promoted at work, landing new jobs. And so then it just took on legs of its own. And I am happy to share with you and the world that I have officially left my 7-figure job. And I am now officially a full-time entrepreneur with the team, mind you. She reminded me of that the other day. With the team,
yes.
I am focused on helping people to change their lives within their careers, outside of their careers, as entrepreneurs. It's like this thing is crazy. So And this
Yes.
just happened. So I'm excited to share with the world that I am a full-time career coach, online career coach, business development, all of that good stuff. It's crazy. So thank you.
And you're amazing at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then to that point, so my coaching started off as just financial coaching. And then I shouldn't say just financial coaching, but that was the primary premise of it, helping people think about their wealth, creating a wealth vision connected to your passions, your beliefs, your values. And I found, Felecia, even prior to my work with you, with other clients, that people were making money, but they weren't happy. And so it caused me to go into this line of work that talks about your purpose, your calling. What are you really good? To your point, I ask the questions, what are you really good at? You know, what do you love to do? What are your skills? What are your gifts? What are your talents? And we take the time to actually list those things and talk about them, and then think about of what you're good at and love to do. I talk a lot about this 90-10 concept. I talk about it with all of my clients, this idea of I believe in spending 90% of my time doing what I absolutely love to do. Absolutely love to do. And so you've got to be clear about what do you love to do? What do you love to do? But you also got to be good at it, y'all. Because some people love to sing, but we don't need you selling that.
No.
Don't sell that.
Back of the choir. Don't try to lead the solo.
Way back. So what are you good at? Yeah. And couple that with what you love to do. And that will create wealth for you. So that's how it kind of evolved. And I started to find more and more that people were making money, but they weren't happy. Yeah. So what's life if you aren't operating in your joy factor? My joy factor is 90-10, 90% of my time doing those things I absolutely love to do. And then 10% of the time doing the other stuff, like cleaning the bathroom and, the stuff like I have to do.
Oh, I don't like to do that. That needs to be like 5%. I don't even like to do that.
Right. So that's what it's all about. And that's what I want to hear. I want people to hear me say, understand what your purpose is. Felecia, you are amazing at what you do because it's your purpose. It's your calling. It's for what you were created. And so I say that all the time. You got to know your purpose, your calling, and live it out. Life is too short. We don't know, and I said this in our sessions too, that life is too short. We don't know if we'll live 10 more days, 10 more years. You might even have 100 more years. I don't know. But whatever it is, you got to live it to the fullest every single day.
You are so right. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was driving down the street on a Friday and I felt a sense of pure joy. I was on my way to a meeting to meet with a potential client and I felt happy. I was like, this is what I've been wanting all these years. Yeah. This is it. I'm walking in my dream. I'm walking in my purpose. I'm walking in my passion. I'm walking in this thing that I know God created me to do. And I know it without a shadow of a doubt. It's crazy. So
I love, but even when you talk about it, a person can pick up, can sense it and see it and feel it. And it brings me so much joy to hear you talk about that. Because when we first started, Felecia, as you said before, I mean, you're just a bright personality anyway. But to see you flourishing in this way has been so rewarding. Even for me, I tell people all the time in the coaching portion, I'm Phil Jackson. You're the Michael Jordan. I'm just here to help, to ask the right questions, to motivate you, to encourage you, to hold you accountable. Yeah. Because the other part I want to name is this is awesome work, but you have to be committed and dedicated, and it's not always easy.
It's not.
It's so rewarding.
Yeah.
Not easy, yet rewarding. So it's important to be able to call that out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Hello, 911. So good, so good. Now, I guess now we can move into the questions because, gosh, so good, so good. So first question, tell us about your story. Where are you from? Where you live? School, work? How you ended up here?
Yeah. So I'm a native Memphian. Absolutely love the city of Memphis. I have lived here all of my life. I was fortunate to be able to move back to Memphis after attending the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. Go Vols. Did some grad work at in Chattanooga. Enjoyed that experience as well, and then ended up moving back to Memphis. I attended Central High School, and I already said I went to the University of Tennessee, and then I did doctoral studies at the University of. I went to Ole Miss for a stint, and then ended up graduating from the University of Memphis, and so that's been my education. I'm a teacher by trade, though I've done several different things. I am a teacher. I did the Strengths Finders and figured out. I already knew this, but one of the assessments I've taken to understand really how I operate has been Strengths Finders, and it talks about one of my strengths being that of a developer. And so that leads and bleeds into my coaching. But as a teacher, I taught several years here in Memphis, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and then I did school principalship for many years, and absolutely loved that work. Did it for 10 years, and so my primary body of work is connected to I work with a nonprofit educational organization where we develop and train school leaders, district level leaders, teachers across the country. And so again, all of my work is so connected to teaching. Talking about the 5 streams of income, I do real estate as well, and I did real estate because I wanted to help people move from renting to ownership. And so one of the premises for my renters is to take some level of financial coaching, whether formal or not, but to educate them around their finances and to have them to move from renting to owning, whether it's the property that they're renting from me or their own property. I'm very adamant about that. Again, developing, teaching, helping people. I also do life insurance. And I did that because our community, believe it or not, many of us don't have life insurance. And so I talk about the value of life insurance, being one who was raised, both my mother and my father passed away before I left even high school. And so I recognize the value of having life insurance. I thank God that they did have something that they were able to leave for the children, both spiritually and financially too. And I think it's vital that we recognize that we've got to set our children up in so many ways, including financially. So I do life insurance. I'm also, as an educator, I believe in supporting those who are in our field. It's a very difficult field, but yet a very important field. And so I do a lot of support and development and helping people be their best in the roles that they're in. So that all of my work, and I was thinking about this, is so connected to trying to help people, trying to ensure folks are, and not just giving people fish, right, but teaching them how to fish.
Right.
Knowing who you are, knowing your purpose. So that's my calling, my purpose. I absolutely love it. Can't imagine doing anything else.
And you do it so well. Like so well. You are awesome. Like so well. So let's talk about your career story. So you're a teacher. Was that always easy for you? How did you're a teacher by nature, let me say that.
Right.
That's the core of who you are. Was it always easy for you moving into that industry, being in that industry? What were some of your challenges?
Yeah, so it's funny. Teaching, I do think, has come naturally. The actual art of teaching. The science I've had to learn and develop. People tell me all the time, you make it look so easy. I did my doctorate in 3 years, and I heard so many people say, you made it look so easy. Anybody could do it. And it's funny because when I look in retrospect, it wasn't necessarily easy. I made some real commitments, Felecia, to studying and how I spent my time. There were times where I wanted to go out and hang out too, but I recognized that I couldn't do that. And so early on, I made some real sacrifices. One of my favorite mantras is you're sacrificing the present to secure the future. You won't have to sacrifice forever.
I love when you say that. I love to hear you say that.
I say it all the time, and we have to understand that there are sacrifices worth making. And so that was one of the sacrifices in education. And so the question, was it easy? Some aspects were natural, but I've had to study and I've had to learn. I often share the story as a school leader. I did school leadership for 10 years. And some of the, again, hardest work I've ever done, some of the best work I've ever done. And I share the story that there were 2 big mistakes I made under school leadership as a school leader. And one was I didn't spend enough time going out getting professional development. And that's one of the things I tell people all the time. If you want to get really good at your craft, you've got to go out and be professionally developed. You've got to get around people who are smarter than you. You've got to learn from other folks. You've got to be a reader. Got to be a YouTuber. I absolutely love, going on and listening to people who are doing my same work so that I can learn and maybe miss some of the mistakes that they made. And so, in a nutshell, I always, encourage people, make sure that you are a self-learner. You've got to be self-motivated. Surround yourself with the right folks, people who can encourage you, people who will push you, not just people who will agree with you,
Yeah.
but those who will cause you to think. I believe in feeding your brain. You got to feed your brain, both with feed your brain, both with books as well as with people.
Yeah, yeah. You said something key. You said that discipline. You were committed and you were disciplined.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in our minds, and here I'm talking about me too, because when I first came to you, I was all over the place. I was touching this, I can do this, I can do that. And you were like, slow the freak down. Right? You had to say, focus. Right? But people, they want so much out of life. I truly believe that. Everybody wants more. But a lot of people believe that they can just say it, they can just pray about it, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And there is a level of discipline that it takes to accomplish those goals. Now, you and I both love the Lord. Like, don't play with us about God, right? Don't do it. However, there are things that we have to do to make those, not to help him out, but to do our part in seeing the blessing come to life.
Absolutely.
So you talked about that. So being committed and being disciplined is key. Can you expound upon that a little bit more?
Absolutely. And to your point, faith without works is dead. The scripture says that very clearly. You can't have just faith and you can't have just works. I was thinking about that on my walk this morning. My sisters and I, we do an annual retreat every single year, and we're planning for it already. And I did an email to them actually early this morning saying, and we're excited about it. And I was like, y'all, as we're praying, let's make sure we're planning. Pray, plan, pray, plan. You need both. There isn't one. You can't just do just prayer. You can't do just planning. I believe the combination and the balance of the both is what brings success. So absolutely. Yeah.
That's amazing. Has the conference already happened?
So yes, we did the conference this past October, and it's going to be again next October, but I got you, girl. I got you.
Please, you know my life, right? You know what has been occurring in my life. You know what I have been walking in. So next October, I'm there. And you know what?
You all heard her. You all heard her. Which camera? She I'm in Felicia's virtual room. Which camera? This one. You all heard her.
I'm there. I am there, and I am going to say today, I am claiming it. I'm saying that over the next year, you all are going to say, Felecia, we really need you to lead something. So I'm just
write the vision, make it plain, honey. It's
put it out there, right?
Write the vision, make it plain.
Awesome. So let's move on. Next question, because I know this is, we got a lot to do today, right?
That's great.
So when you began your first real job, do you feel like you were prepared?
When I began my first real job, so as a teacher, I was somewhat prepared.
You were over prepared.
Had I had the focus group, I would have been real prepared.
True.
I was fortunate though to go through a program at the University of Tennessee that gave me an extra year when I was working on my master's to actually do some of the actual work in school. So that helped me tremendously. I got both the book knowledge, but I was also able to apply or make the application as I worked in school. So I feel like I was somewhat prepared, and it was a result of that program that I went through.
Gotcha. What do you feel like some of the characteristics have been for you that have catapulted you into success? And then the second part of that question, what have been some characteristics that have held you back that you've had to get over?
Oh, wow. That's a powerful question. Characteristics that have catapulted. Definitely the discipline part. I am pretty disciplined. Not in every single area of my life. Girl, I love those cheese fries. Honey, I got to have them at least once a week. Y'all help me. Y'all pray for me. So working on that part of discipline. But I'm pretty disciplined. What else? That have helped me. Characteristics that have helped me. And I mean, I'm just one. I'm very outcomes driven. That's another thing I'll say. I'm a planner, very outcomes driven, and I'm also a visionary too. So I can see the big picture and then write down the steps of how to get there. And most people that's something I've actually recently learned about myself, that I do have the balance of those. And the challenge is most people are either a full visionary, which is a very important skill and quality to have, or detailed only.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a characteristic that works well for me. Uh, I think one of my biggest fallacies is I believe in people, which is a good thing to believe in people. But I also there are times when I need to recognize to cut the cord. Cut the cord.
Stop. That's the hardest thing to do when it's time to sever
Yep.
a relationship, whether it's personal or professional.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier that there were two errors that I've made, two biggest errors, not two errors, I've made many errors, but two of the biggest errors I made in the field of education. And that first one I talked about, but another one, the second one is this idea professionally. There was a teacher that I should have fired, just to put it directly and bluntly. But because, and again, as a developer, as a teacher, the basement of that strength is I tend to give people chances because I believe in you. You can do it. I can see that little light in you, and I believe you can do it. And I genuinely operate in that way, but it has cost me. And in this same example, I remember a teacher I should have fired. I worked with her, and I saw early on that she wasn't progressing in the way in which she should have been, and I didn't do it, Felecia. So my bigger point is, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Right.
Believe. That's been a struggle for me.
Yeah. That's tough. But here's the thing that I've learned, and I've just recently learned it. I've always known it with my children, but I never applied it to just the regular part of my life, is you can't want more for people than they want for themselves.
Call the fire department on that one. Come on, give it, y'all. Felecia, that's been a tough one.
Want more for people than they want for themselves. And what I've learned is once you start showing me that I want this more for you, then I back off. Because we both, if we've agreed that I'm going to help you or we're going to work together on something and I'm doing my part, but you're not doing your part, then we can just let it go. I'm wasting time.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest struggles. And I do it because I believe, and I want to make sure that we clarify, I think that's different for adults versus children.
Yeah.
I believe children who are being molded, I do believe you give them the extra chances and you help them win, help them be successful,
right.
Help them reach, their place in life. Right. But with adults, that's been my struggle because and this is the other thing too, I can actually see the positive.
Yeah.
And I see the potential. But when a person's not quite operating in it, at some point, sooner versus later, I've learned in my life, you got to cut forward. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean you don't, it's not personal.
It's not personal.
Yeah.
It's not personal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say to the story of the teacher I didn't fire, a whole class of students suffered because of my error.
Oh.
Class of students. And so I ended up, this is a true story. I ended up, and I was the principal of this school. And so I ended up making sure that those kids got additional supports. I put an extra teacher aide in there, and those kids remained with me until they left that school. But I think about that often in my personal and professional life, the need to know when to cut the cord.
Wow. That's so good. It's so good. It's so honest, right? So authentic, like this. So good. Anyway, let's moving on. Oh my goodness. So my company, I call it a company because it is a company. It's more than we are focused on helping people to advance their careers. A lot of people are on the job. They've been on the job a long time and they feel stuck. Some people feel stuck. They don't know how to move up. And to be honest, people need more money. They don't know how to get promoted. They don't know how to network, right?
Yeah.
And then also when post-COVID, a lot of people are unemployed and they needed to find jobs, right? But they're being unemployed from jobs that they've been on forever. So they haven't interviewed in a long time. And so I'm here to teach them. This is what you say. This is when you say it. This is how you say it. This is how you follow up. So it's helping them to advance. What are some things that you have done? I've heard you talk about reading and attending conferences and everything, but what are some things that you've done to advance your career? What are some professional development things that you were very focused on completing for yourself?
Yeah, so there are a couple things I can think of just off the top of my head. One, I got very clear on what my strengths were and what my challenges were. Mm. And one of the things that people tend to do is to lean in on the challenges or weaknesses and spend way too much time and like, I got to get great at these areas that I'm not great at. And what I quickly learned is the value of continuing to develop my strengths. And by the way, I actually read this and the research shows that there's more value in developing your strengths and you find people, the team you talked about earlier, to actually plug in to those weaknesses. So that's one of the things, get super clear about my strengths and weaknesses and not that you ignore the weaknesses, but you spend more time on developing those strengths. I've done that. I also talked about the Strengths Finder assessment earlier. I've taken assessments to be more self-aware. I think that's another thing I'm finding. I am certified Myers-Briggs inventory assessment teacher. And so I support a lot of folks in understanding what that means. And the Myers-Briggs really looks at your preferences. How do you operate? How do you, what are your personality ways in which you operate? And how do you use those things to ensure that you really know who you are and then be able to better work with other people? And so I've taken some assessments like that, Strengths Finders, FIRO-B, others, to really have a unbiased view of who I am, because many times we're very biased. Yeah. And, you know, we'll tell ourselves a fib and a heartbeat that we're better at something that we're really not good at. Ooh. So that's why I've taken those assessments, those unbiased assessments. Something else I've done too is just even to get the perspective of others who work with me. And so I lead a team of folks at work, and I oftentimes when I'm doing evaluations on them, I actually ask the reciprocal question to better understand who I am, how I operate, what am I doing that works for them, and that might be causing challenge for them. So a lot of it is around just like the self-reflection, the self-awareness piece. What else have I done? I read a lot.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that self-reflection piece it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to, and I've had to look in the mirror myself and be honest with myself about a lot of things. But once I accepted those things that really just weren't right, that there were areas that I was wrong. Like I was that was wrong.
Yep.
Right. But once I accepted that, then I realized that's something that if I change it, if I tweak it, how much better could I be?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the key. Nobody is perfect.
Nobody.
So if we just tell ourselves the truth and then commit to making those changes. I'm reading a book now, Atomic Habits, that talks about the small commitments and changes that we can make in our lives that will transform our lives. Mm. I think people I see this a lot in my coaching. Folks want to do like the big thing. And I'm like, hold on with the big thing. Let's actually make the small tweaks and make those and commit to that. Yeah. Now, be honest. If you know you're not going to commit to something, don't say it. I think that's another characteristic that works for me. My word is my bond. Ooh. Now, if I say it, you can cash it in. And so I tell folks, you gotta make those small tweaks, those small changes. And then I think that brings the transformation.
Wow, that's so good. So good. All right. What advice would you give someone who is just now entering the workforce?
Just now entering the workforce.
There's a two-parter to that. And then someone who feels stuck in the workforce, someone who's just entering, and then also someone who feels stuck. What advice?
Yeah, and I keep pounding on this self-awareness piece, Felicia, because I think it will transform and change how you think about yourself, your work. I would give that person the advice to again, especially if you're new to the workforce, know what you're good at, know what you love, spend your attention and energy there. The second thing I'll say is something around this idea of like do your self work.
Mm.
Do your self work, meaning um, commit to those things that will help you be successful in not just the job of course, but in life. But it transfers over to the job. And so one of the things that I do and I encourage people to do, know your self-worth, know your self-values. I do a lot of I believe in affirmations.
Yeah.
I believe in not only just writing them, but to say them out loud. Firsthand in my coaching, I have people to identify what is your life vision.
Yeah.
And so new to the job, do that for life, but also on your job, be clear about what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish in this job? What are the outcomes you're planning towards? And I say this with my own team too, not only is it about this job, but how are you using this experience to catapult you to the next experience?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of have an idea of where you're ultimately trying to go and take the small steps now to get there. So I would encourage a person new to it, lean in. Lean in. Don't sit out and be passive. No, be assertive. Know who you are and walk in it boldly, honey.
Oh. So what about that woman? So here I am, 49. I'll be 50 in May. Yes. Yeah. And I have hit a hard reset button. Mm-hmm. And for a while, there was a time in my life where I felt stuck where I was. What would you say to that person?
Yeah. First, I would tell her to breathe in and then breathe out. We've all been there. We felt stuck, just disappointed, just whatever has happened in life. We've all been in that place. But I would encourage that woman to one, recognize you hold the keys to being unstuck. You hold the keys to your destiny. And I would encourage you today to make the choice to get unstuck. And some people, say, well, I know it's not that easy. I do know that, but making the choice is the first step. The next step, then, I would encourage this woman to surround yourself with a village of folks who can help you. Another error I see a lot, Felecia, is people who are trying to do this solo. None of us have gotten to where we are solo. You've got to know your village. And I don't believe you expose yourself to everyone. I don't believe you bring everybody in. I've learned that lesson the hard way too. But you find that one or two or three, whatever your number is. It might be a family member, it might be a friend, it might be an old teacher, it might be a church member, but you find that village of folks who believe in you and you begin to let them pour into your life. I would also encourage you, read. I'm an avid reader. I believe in reading the Bible. I believe in reading self-help books, but find you something to begin to feed yourself, because that stuckness is less about the job, it's less about the external, but there's potentially something that's happening internally that that I encourage you to deal with. I've been there. So I'm not talking from a place of judgment or a place of, I don't know what she's talking about. No, sister, I'm riding with you. I've been there. And so it's about making that choice. It's about finding your village. I'm so thankful that I have close friends and even closer sisters who I can be my honest, transparent self. Yeah. And I would encourage you, sister, to do that same thing, and then begin to find books. And there's so much out there. There's YouTube. There's so many ways. You don't even have to spend money doing this stuff, but begin to feed your mind. Feed your brain. I firmly believe that which you feed will grow, and that which you starve will die. So you starve the negativity. You starve that stuff that is pulling from you and taking from you, and feed your intellect. Feed yourself. That's the way to get unstuck. That's a start of getting unstuck.
Hope y'all got that. I don't. The podcast is over. Thank you for coming. Have a good night. Dr. Kia Tate. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me this morning. Thank you for making time to share this conversation with me. Thank you for pouring into all of the people who are going to watch this video. And I am claiming that there will be millions that will see this video. Right?
Yeah, I receive that. Yeah. Yeah.
You are amazing. Thank you for starting me on this journey of self-awareness. Because in my mind, I was amazing, but I really was like toe up from the flow up, child. But thank you for starting me on this journey. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my sister, my mentor, my role model. Thank you for being the woman that you are in the lives of so many people. Thank you. This conversation was everything. It will forever be one of my favorites. Forever be one of my favorites. Tell the people where they can find you. Tell them where they can find you.
I'm stuck back here on what you're saying, because I think the same thing about you. Y'all, she's amazing. And what I love about the work that you're doing, Felecia, is not just what you've read, because you've done a lot of reading. Yeah. It's not just the conferences that you've attended, because you've done that as well. You've done your work. So it's not just that. It's not just the data that you research and look. It's not just that. It's your experience. Yeah. And so I appreciate the authenticity in which you operate and in your desire. There's a deep desire. Every time we talk, y'all, Felicia's trying to help people. She wants to help. It's not about her. The spotlight's not on me, I. It's about how can I get out here to help people. And so I commend you. I applaud you. I thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation. And I am excited. Great things are in store. Great things are already happening. Not going to happen, but are happening. And people's lives will be transformed and changed forever because of you. So I applaud you on today. Sis. Yes, ma'am.
So much. So we will link all of Kia's contact information at the bottom of this video. So if you need to reach out to her, if you're like, I need Dr. Kia in my life, I need Dr. Kia as my coach, her information will be linked to this video. So use that information. I believe there's going to be a form or something on your website where they can input the information and what they're looking for, and then she'll get back with you. But
and the easiest thing, Felecia, right now is just Kia, K-I-A, at drkiacoaching.com. Kia, K-I-A, at drkiacoaching.com.
No, hello, no. I love you so much.
Love you too. Thank you.
Love you so much. All that good stuff.
All that.
I love you. You all, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I don't even know what this episode is going to be called. We're at the end, and I don't even know. You'll see it when I don't even know. Oh, but it's going to be amazing. Thank you for watching. My name is Felecia H. Walker, and I am the founder and CEO of the Focus Group by Felecia. And thank you for watching. Reach out to me if you need me. Reach out to Kia if you need her. We're here.
We got you.
We are out here changing lives and transforming lives together. Thank you, Kia. I love you.
Love you, sis. Bye.